at their draft tables. Surely the nerves are running high here this morning. World Championship 31, the competition does not get better than this. There's a look at Derek Davis sitting down at the draft pod. Marcio Carvalho there, pretty sick of being a runner-up at the World Championship, wants to turn things around this year. And there's our reigning champ, Javier Dominguez there at the head of the table, sitting down, getting ready to draft here this morning. So many thoughts running through his head. It's like, please just let me have a good draft. Let's take a look at Javier here. From Spain, 11 top finishes to his name, one of the best to ever do it. He could be our third-time world champion here this weekend. If he does it, he'll be the first to ever do it. Let's take a look at our broadcast team and find out who else will be in the booth here with you this weekend. Check it out. Ailey Loney and Corey Baumeister will be in the booth, as well as the dynamic duo of Marshall Sutcliffe and Paul Cheon. Cedric Phillips will also be here in the building, interviewing some of the players, giving us some behind-the-scenes looks. All right, everyone, it is time here for Avatar: The Last Airbender draft. I am so excited to get underway. I'm going to pass it on over to Marshall and Paul with the call.
Yeah, thank you, Maria. Welcome to the booth here in Bellevue. Marshall Sutcliffe with Paul Cheon. And Paul, it is, well, it's the biggest draft of the year, right? This is the World Championship. This is booster draft, and being one round shorter each day, booster draft still 3 rounds makes up an even bigger portion of the potential points for that top 8 finish that you can get in this tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember just even yesterday going around asking all the players, does that kind of change your preparation? And they go, yeah, well, limited is way, way more important. It's such a higher percentage of your wins for this event. So everybody had to spend extra time focusing on this format because it's so much more important to have a good start here.
That's right. Stacked table here, by the way. You know, we wanted to watch Javier draft as the reigning champion, but look at these pods are random. We got Marcio Carvalho sitting right next to him, Shuhei Nakamura. I mean, these are, you know, Shuhei and Marcio are limited GOATs. I mean, they're like both top 10 limited players all time. And then, you know, you see other names, Derek Davis, Ray Zhang at the table too. This is one of those wow feature tables. Of course, we are at the World Championship. You do expect to see a bunch of big names at your table, but still, this is particularly strong.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we're very likely to follow Javier Dominguez as a reigning world champion, so we don't know what the tables are going to look like, but I mean, just looking at how all the other pods have shaken out, this could still just be one of the most stacked pods that we have at the tournament.
That's right. All right, Javier is getting ready to open up Pack 1, Pick 1, and start his World Championship off right. Paul, we know how important the rares can be in Avatar: The Last Airbender. He's got to be hoping for one of the big mythics.
Yeah, absolutely. The bombs are just completely ridiculous. You don't want to be starting with a common. The rares are just so much better than anything you can be doing. Javier wants to start with a gold or an orange card.
Yeah, something that says the legend of or the rise of, or, you know, just get me an of in there somewhere and we'll probably be good. As you can see, the players will lay out the cards in front of them. They have to count how many are in each pack to make sure that it's the correct amount, and then the judge will tell them when it's time for them to pick. Let's see what Javier gets. Pack 1, Pick 1 at a stacked table.
Yeah, and you know, the good thing here is oftentimes when you're playing in high-level drafts, you kind of want to be next to people who kind of draft a lot, know what's going on, because reading signals in this format, really, really important, finding your lane. So being able, you know, passing to Marcio, you're going to feel confident that if you end up in a color combination, he's going to hook you up in Pack 2.
Take a look. We've got Pack 1, Pick 1 here, Paul. Firebending lesson pulled to the front. Allies at last. And I did see an Idle Quentia somewhere in the Pack 2. That's been maybe an overperforming card in the format. I'm a big Firebending lesson fan, though. What's not to like, right? Cheap removal for the early game. It scales with the late game, with the kicker cost, and it's a lesson.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the, you know, the Jeskai colors is oftentimes what people want to start with. I think Allies at Last is a stronger card.
More powerful.
It's a more powerful card, but it isn't a weaker color, whereas Firebending Lesson, blue, red, and white is typically the top 3 colors that people look at. But I think Javier just going for the power here. Allies at Last, you know, there's a million allies in this format where oftentimes this is just green kill a creature.
That's right. Yeah, green not necessarily where you're super excited to start, but yeah, I agree. Most individually powerful card in the pack. And you know, maybe a little bit of going against the grain. You know, blue and white are heavily drafted colors in this format, and, you know, maybe you want to sidestep that a little bit. Though, as we see here, Compassionate Healer there pulled to the front now for Javier. If he does take that, it's an early signal towards the Allies deck, which can be many different color pairs, but green-white's definitely one of them.
Yeah, I mean, Compassionate Healer is one of my favorite common creatures in the format. It doesn't, at first glance, you see a 2-mana 2/2 with like a small ability, and you don't think it's that big of a deal. This card is just one of the premier creatures. I love this card. You can't have too many of this card. It works well with water bending. Even just playing it turn 2 on the play, attacking and trading with their 2-drop, you're still up on that exchange.
That's right. All right, let's see what we've got here. Pack 1, pick 3 for Dominguez.
Wow, this is a really good pack. I see a Forecasting Fortune Teller, Airbending Lesson, Teo, Messenger Hawk. Lots of good options here for Javier. Now, Airbending Lesson is just a really, really good spell, and it is a nice follow-up to the Compassionate Healer. You kind of want to, if it's close, you kind of want to lean towards a green or white card out of this pack, and I think the Airbending Lesson is probably the best card in green or white.
Yeah. It's right up there with the best of the white commons. So he's got 2 of the best white commons already. So far,
pick up the card,
a green card. We'll see where that takes him. Taking a look at his 4th pick, Zhang's Deserters.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah, Realm of Ko is a very, very powerful land. You know, black is considered one of the weaker colors, but you know, if the games go along, that does kind of take over the game. But given that you've taken 2 white cards already, taking a Zhang's Deserters makes a lot of sense. You just try to cut off white, which is widely considered to be the best color, and by cutting it off early means maybe you can get hooked up in pack 2. And look, I mean, Javier has a great curve. 2 2-drops already with the solid 3-drop and a removal effect. Very, very nice start for Javier. Granted, you know, not the most exciting.
Yeah, I wonder how he's feeling right now, because there really wasn't much in green that's been past him. Although now that I say that, I see some decent green cards here with the Rocky Rebuke pulled to the front.
Yeah, Rocky Rebuke, I think, is just excellent in the green-white archetype. I think green-white wants to be an aggressive allies deck. You'll see that Unlucky Cabbage Merchant. Now, that is a solid card, but that's a card I like more if I'm looking to be like 2 or 3 color lessons, maybe a slower, more mid-range style of deck. Green-white, you want to be aggressive. You want to be able to kind of push damage through and get creatures out of the way. Rocky Rebuke really helps with that.
Okay, so staying on track here, it looks like, you know, Javier, and more green stuff flowing in his direction.
Yeah, I see an Earth Rumble and a Master Piandao, both very, very good cards. I would probably lean the Piandao just because you're kind of doing the allies thing already, and it's just a really, really good top-end threat. And so, you know, you kind of want to curve out, and you already have 2 spells. You want to keep your creature count very, very high in this type of strategy.
Yeah, you do not have a lot of slots in a deck like this for, you know, I mean, there's basically no slots for card advantage only type cards.
Right.
You know, maybe 1.
Pick up the card, have 20 seconds.
Things that don't affect the board directly are quite punishing when you're trying to play green-white allies. So that's really good. And by the way, yes, that does count. Pillar Launch does affect the board directly. Combat tricks in decks like this can often act as removal spells or ways to push through damage to finish a game. And Pillar Launch has been kind of way better than you'd think,
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of 2 approaches to this format, I think, that will give you the most success. Being very aggressive before your opponents can deploy their bombs, or you know, just trying to draft around those big bombs that you get. And green-white aggro, any white-based aggressive strategy is very strong, and Pillar Launch does a lot of work there.
And by the way, you were just talking about this, Paul, keeping the creature count high. This is one of the payoffs for that. Invasion Tactics acts as kind of an overrun effect. It gives all your creatures +2/+2. You even get cards off of it as well. But a lot of times that's the last card cast, and it can end the game.
Yeah, really, really nice card in a green-white ally strategy, right? Just to have as a nice top-end card. You curve out 2, 3, 4, and then you play that. You know, sometimes your opponents are just going to have to block because they're going to die, but you draw some cards. So, you know, I don't like that card in every deck, but specifically in green-white is where that card is at its best.
That's right, and it does seem like Javier has solidified himself in green-white at this point in the draft. So let's take a look at where he may go from here or where he'd like to go. So here's what he's got. You can take a look. These are in order from, you know, top to bottom there. And as you can see, you know, so that's actually Zhang's Deserters, not the Deserter. So that's another white 2-drop there. But, you know, so he is only in green and white at this point, and everything's pointing in the same direction. It's all either creatures or things that remove stuff on the other side so your creatures can attack, or things that pump up your creatures.
Yeah, he's already got 3 interactive spells and a combat trick and an invasion tactic, so now he's probably really going to be prioritizing creatures. I think if it picks close between a solid creature and a removal spell or an interactive spell, he's going to take the creature
from this point on. So let's see where he may want to go from here. For commons, look, Path to Redemption, one of the better removal spells, and something that he'll definitely want, and it even can add to your board with an ally, as you can see with the activated ability. Glider Kids, super solid. This is what you're talking about, right?
Right.
If there's another Rocky Rebuke, he's going to take Glider Kids over.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even Rebellious Captives, right? Like, you just... Carving out is the name of the game in the green-white ally strategy. So Rebellious Captives, Compassionate Healers, there's no number you're going to be like, oh, I don't want any more of these. You'll be happy with 7 or 8 2-drops. So this is the kind of meat and potatoes that you want in your green-white strategy.
Right, and then, you know, you get your meat and potatoes going, but you got to kind of get that second course, and that's where there's some really powerful uncommons that he may be that he's hoping for sure. Aang the Last Airbender, a namesake card, and it really performs. White Lotus Reinforcements is an ally, and look at that. Other allies you control get +1/+1. It pumps up basically your whole team in decks like this. And then Earth Kingdom Jailer combo of efficient creature plus ally plus removal spell.
Yeah, I mean, we don't see a sizing of a creature like this typically.
No.
This type of effect comes on a hard-to-cast 3-mana 1/3 creature.
Exactly.
Like, and the fact that this is an easy-to-cast 3/3, this has done so much work in this format.
And it's that ally type as well. Now, there's also a little room for dessert here, though. Dream Picks, here's what he would really love to see. I mean, getting a card like United Front is just a straight-up game ender. The Legend of Yang Chen is also one of those cards that's very difficult to beat when it comes down. This is a 2-for-1 like you don't normally get. And then in green, a card like Great Divide Guide on turn 2 can just dump your whole hand by turn 4.
I mean, yeah, Great Divide Guide is just absolutely ridiculous in this type of strategy. You first kind of look at it, you're like, oh, that's solid, mana creature. No, it's way better than that. If you've ever played this format before, you don't even have to try. And at the end of the deck, at the end of the draft, you're just going to find that you have 12 or 13 allies in your deck. So this thing just completely allows you to just play everything and just completely overrun your opponents.
Okay, why don't we take a breath here, and then we will rejoin Javier Dominguez as he works his way through pack 1 and then for the remaining packs that we have for the draft. Let's see if he can pick up some of those cards. It looks like this next pack not so cooperative, Paul.
Yeah, 0 green or white cards. But, you know, this is something that you will see in this format where we talk about the bomb-heavy nature of the format, but also the lack of depth at common is sometimes an issue. A lot of the creatures are not, especially the ones that aren't allies, are not ones that you want it in your deck. So you will often just have packs where you just don't take anything once cards start to wheel.
And that's what's happening here. He took Bender's Water Skin there. He's not even going to play it. And this pack has basically nothing as well. Kind of interesting. You know, I mean, do you think that Javier is kind of going, uh-oh, like nothing?
I mean, the thing is you also have to keep in mind the fact that this is the highest level draft you will ever have, where basically you're just not going to get good playables on the wheel very often. We've seen this all the time in Pro Tour drafts, so every single pick is super important. You cannot waste a single pick here. You can't just go, oh, I have 9 playables after pack 1. I'm going to be good. I can do some speculating. That is not what you can do at an event like this.
Yeah, you have to, you know, adjust your grading of decks like this on a curve. And the curve, this is the hard mode.
5 seconds.
And sitting at the World Championship is the most difficult drafts that you will face. And what that means is, you know, if you come away with a deck that, you know, like if you and I were drafting at home that we thought, yeah, it's pretty solid, that means you did well.
Oh, yeah.
Like you're actually doing it at that point, because it's very rare to get one of those really busted decks. Okay, pack 2, pick 1. No, sorry, this is actually just a review. So Allies at Last was his first pick. Maybe he just read the word allies and went with it. Is that the strategy?
I mean, it's possible. It did look like green was somewhat open. We did see a decent amount of green cards kind of in the middle of that pack here. And, you know, he certainly got some powerful white cards as well. But it looks like he's got something like 8 playable cards after pack 1. The issue is right now the creature count is a little bit on the low side for an allies deck. You kind of want somewhere between 15 to 16 just to be able to curve out. So again, that's what Javier is going to be looking out for. Solid start here though, especially in high-level drafts like this. It's not bad being proactive, being aggressive. You're going to have a lot more success here than in maybe a casual draft that you do where you kind of get a lot more stuff. You know, and that's why we see players like Marcio Carvalho have a ton of success. He likes drafting aggressive strategies. Shuhei Nakamura also does the exact same thing. And those types of drafting strategies work way, way better here, where everybody is going to end up playing a couple of cards you typically don't see, but if they're just 2-mana 2/2s, that's still fine.
Totally. And you know, a deck like this does go deep into the commons, particularly in white, where you're not reliant on certain rares or even uncommons to come out of the packs to make your deck functional. You can definitely get by with just the decent commons in that color, and then you know, in that way, you kind of get to free roll on the good stuff, right? If you open up a great uncommon or rare, sweet, but it's not really what makes the deck tick. All right, pack 2, pick 1. Nice. Okay. You picked up a good rare here with Hakoda.
Yeah,
that's a nice ally. You know, it's not one of the top ones, but it's a good card.
Yeah, I mean, especially in the allies deck, right? Because basically Hakoda allows you to just cast allies off the top of your deck. Really great body too, 4 mana, 3/5 vigilance, and you can save all your other creatures. And this is actually just like a really solid pack. There's also, I believe, is that Earth Kingdom Protectors as well?
Yeah,
that's a card
I really like that.
You would really love that card. I don't think you can really justify taking it over the Hakoda, but certainly one of those cards you kind of hope you pick up a copy of in a draft like this.
And as you mentioned, it is an ally, Paul. Funny, you know, the green-white deck, when you look at the creatures, it's actually only noteworthy when they aren't an ally.
Right.
Like, those are the ones that you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, like cards like Raucous Audience,
which was in there, by the way.
Right, Raucous Audience, Ostrich Horse. Those are fine cards. The only issue is, of course, they're not allies.
Was that a... Oh, wow. Okay, so this is an interesting one for him. It's an easy pick. In fact, it's one of the cards that we were hoping he would see there with the Jailer, but there is a problematic card that he's going to be passing along to an opponent, which is Day of Black Sun, a really solid sweeper and, you know, a high performer in the format. And the main reason is because decks like Javier's deck are everywhere, and it's really good against them.
Yeah, great card. But of course, Earth Kingdom Jailer, one of the best uncommons in the entire format. Javier's got to be thrilled to see that pick too. One note, by the way. That Day of Black Sun counteracts the indestructible text if you sacrifice Hakoda. That might come up at some point. Just know that, remember, even if you sacrifice Hakoda, those creatures will not be indestructible.
Yeah, they get indestructible and then they lose it and then they die.
Wow, okay. What
is that another Jailer?
Pack 2, a second copy of Earth Kingdom Jailer. Javier has to be thrilled with how Pack 2 is going.
That's crazy that he picked that up. I mean, I saw the yip and I was like, oh, that's good. That's actually one of the better cards for this deck. But a second Earth Kingdom, man, he must be so, he isn't showing it, but he must be so excited to see that.
I mean, these 3 cards are just better than everything he got in pack 1, right? It's just incredible here. And there's another card in that pack that some people might be questioning. There was an Avatar's Wrath in that pack. And that's one of those cards where everybody thinks it's
oh, I tried.
Yeah, I tried. I asked around. I tried playing with it. It's just okay. There is a high ceiling, but there's also an extremely low floor. Not really the type of card you're taking, especially over something like an Earth Kingdom Jailer.
Think I saw a Path to Redemption in this pack,
and
which is kind of exactly what he wants at this point. Oh, he's looking at Gather the White Lotus. That's the mono-white payoff card. You get a 1/1 ally for each planes you control. You scry 2. It costs 4 and a white.
Yeah, but
is he thinking about it? You just got to take the Path to Redemption.
Path to Redemption. The thing is, look, you're a high level. This is
whoa.
No. You're going to take Path.
Is he thinking about going mono-white?
He's got green cards. I don't think he had enough playables. Okay, well, you know what? This is an extremely powerful card, right?
It is a good card.
If you end up in mono-white, this is an absolutely incredible payoff. But Path to Redemption is one of White's best commons and keeps you more flexible, right? This doesn't mean that you have to draft mono-white. You can still be green-white or blue-white or any other combination. That's a little bit of a risky pick, I think, for Javier.
Maybe he's okay if it just makes like 2 or sometimes 3 tokens.
Okay, do you
want... got Glider Kids here.
Yeah, Glider Kids is, of course,
I like that.
great. And now...
And he has to take that over Haru, right?
Right, and then now we're at the point where if it's a close pick between a green or a white card, he's just going to take the white card to try to maximize on the number of planes that he plays. Now, again, I'm not saying Gather the White Lotus is unplayable in a 10-7 mana base or what have you, but oftentimes you're just going to be making 3 tokens or whatever. I just don't think that's stronger necessarily than Path to Redemption, which is a premium removal spell for this combination.
Look at this, another hidden tactics, or invasion tactics, excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, a second copy is okay. You're getting kind of heavy on 5-drops now. You have Gather the White Lotus. You also have an invasion tactics. But yeah, you can, like I said, you can certainly play a mana base where you have, you know, 12-5, 12 planes, 5-4.
Yeah, and it's okay there.
Yeah, it's still fine.
But Path to Redemption's good.
It's a lot of 5s.
All of those.
Okay. And now we
Where
have
did he get here?
Now we have Toph the Blind Bandit and
Okay.
Avatar Enthusiast. I imagine you're just going to take the Enthusiast,
Yeah.
right? It's just close, and
It's a close pick anyway.
And it's also insane with Gather the White Lotus.
Oh, totally.
Right.
Avatar Enthusiast looks like a 3-mana 2/2. It plays like a 3-mana 4/4 with upside.
You have to kill it.
You really do.
Yeah.
You can. Like, it dies to most stuff, but like usually by the time you're ready to turn that thing sideways, it's at least 3, if not 4.
Right.
Anything decent here for Javier?
There is a Haru hidden talent.
See, but this is where these really plummet.
Yeah, and this is the issue with taking...
How do you make your mana work?
Right, this is the issue with taking something like a Gather the White Lotus, where all of a sudden you pick up a late Haru, you take it, but you can't really play Haru in a 6-4 deck, right? Like, you kind of need to have a 9-8 split, something closer, because you want to play this card on turn 2.
Want it on 2.
And look, believe me, I've tried drafting monocolor decks very, all the time. You often just end up 3 or 4 playable short, and it just doesn't quite work out exactly the way that you want.
Yeah, when you do, they're very good, and they perform really well in this format because of those payoffs. You know, typically, you get some benefits from playing a monocolor deck, like you can play 1 fewer land. You, of course, never have any mana issues outside of quantity, but the total power level usually does suffer. In this set, you actually do get paid off. Like, think about those more as like a build-around type card that you actually get paid off for. That's a pretty late Water Tribe captain there for Javier. Very good.
And he's going to need to continue tabling white cards. Here's the issue, though, Marshall. This is a format where this pot is completely stacked.
Oh, he's not taking Pillar Launch. Interesting.
He has one already, maybe. Yeah.
Yes.
And we're at the point where it's no secret that white is one of the best colors. Do you really think you're just going to table a bunch of good white commons to go into your deck? I don't think so. In which case, you have to ask yourself, are you going to end up with 23 playable cards in that color? It's going to be really, really hard.
Yeah, so then I guess the question is just how far can he push his mana base over if he doesn't end up playing mono white here?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, Gather the White Lotus is still a completely playable card.
Like, where's the cutoff in your mind? Like, if it's 5 mana for 2 allies, scry 2, that's not quite there.
That's not good.
Is 3?
I think 3 is okay, because you get the scry and you want to go wide. I think it's fine. But again, at that point, you're asking yourself, if this is getting you 2.5 tokens on average, is that better than just a Path to Redemption in your deck, in your kind of carve-out aggro
Path
deck?
to Redemption gets you 1 token, right?
It does get you 1 token for 5 mana. It does, and it kills something.
And it kind of does something else in between, yeah. No, my gut would tell me that your win rate would be higher with the Path of Redemption, but there is upside.
Of course.
Right, where like if you do end up, say, mono white or really close to it, then it's definitely better.
Right.
To have,
yeah, and certainly this draft, in Pack 2, the first few picks were awesome, but then it kind of fell off.
It did.
He did get a late Water Tribe captain, which was pretty nice, and that late Haru indicating that nobody's at least in the green-white ally pair. Usually people, I think if you kind of were ranking it, blue-white and red-white are the ones that tend to perform a little bit better, so nobody clearly in green-white allies. But still, I don't know that Javier is going to have enough here for that dedicated mono white deck, so we'll kind of see how the Pack 3 goes here.
Yeah, then the question becomes, you know, how undedicated is it, and do you end up playing the Gather the White Lotus in your? I mean, like I'm with you. You know, it's right on that razor edge where if you can get to 11 planes, yeah, you're running it. Right? If you do 10, are you playing it? Probably at this table, yeah.
Yeah, the thing is,
just you're a lot less happy.
Right. The thing is, keep in mind, even after Pack 1, he had roughly about 8 playable cards in his color combinations, and they were split evenly between green and white cards. So if you go back and remember what you drafted in Pack 1, thinking, wait, I had 4 playable white cards in Pack 1. Like, I know your first 4 picks in Pack 2 are white. Maybe there's a dream there, but it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, it's interesting because if you do end up playing green, it restricts the type of green cards that you can play, right? Like you mentioned, Haru, that's exactly what you don't want.
Yep.
All right, Pack 3, pick 1. Is that the Earth King?
Wow, this pack is loaded, by the way. He opened an Earth King and an Azula.
Oh, really?
Yeah, of course he's not going to be able to take it, but he passed a Sweeper and an Azula different directions.
Different directions.
And those are cards he needs to be mindful of there.
But whatever,
Earth
he picked
King
up
is
the
amazing.
Earth King. That's like one of the best rares he could get in his color pair.
Yeah, that card is an absolute slam dunk bomb here. Javier just kind of looking at all the cards that he's going to have to face. Iroh's Demonstration, Accumulated Wisdom, if you're playing against Lessons, but Earth King is phenomenal here.
Well, that's a big strike against the mono white idea. That's not going to happen now, I would say. But I will say that Earth King totally fits that description of the type of cards that you do want. It's single green, and it's good anytime you cast it.
Right, yeah. I mean, you can still just play only your best expensive green cards and your removal effects and do something like a 10-7, 11-6 split.
What did he get? Razor Rings there?
Yeah, this one's a little bit
Rocky
underwhelming.
Rebuke.
There's a Razor Rings and a Raucous Audience, but maybe
Raucous Audience.
Maybe don't want to play the Raucous Audience here just because you don't want to be able to play that thing on turn 2. It's fairly weak pack, and it looks like he has True Ancestry, considering that.
But there's really not that many spots in a deck like this for a card like that. In fact, probably 0.
There's no self-mill or anything. It is a good value card. It is a 2-for-1 when the games go long, and green-white doesn't have a lot of ways to get card advantage.
Oh, he's going to take it.
You know, it's a pretty weak pack.
It does check that box where if you want that one slot for the card advantage, because yeah, you know, you're very much at the mercy of your top of your library at some point with decks like this, so it is nice to have that. Oh, Katara the Fearless. But I guess if you're trying to go as close to white as possible, you can't really be
he doesn't have any mana fixing. There's no green-white land or blue-white land in his pool. And, you know, Kyoshi Battlefan is a very serviceable 2-mana play. 2 mana, make a 2-1 ally. And I've even found moving around the equipment sometimes matters too. So
it does.
I think that's probably what he should be looking to take here. Another just solid 2-mana play for his deck.
Yeah, Katara just seems like a step too far. I mean, it is amazing.
It's ambitious,
deck.
but
Wow,
you
is he
also
going to take
gather the White Lotus. No way.
Whoa.
Okay. All right. So now we're, you know, by the way.
This is a you can't have both, right?
Well, if you have this in play and you play the Earth King, you get 2 4/4s, right?
You totally do. And you get all the counters on it. Avatar, you get double triggers off the Jailer. Like, it's nuts.
I know, but he's just not set up to cast the card
not at all. Not at all.
Wow, okay.
I don't, like, basically, to me, you can go for Katara if you want to try to get some late mana fixing here in pack 3, or you can go for Gather the White Lotus, but there is no way you can have both of those cards in your deck at this point.
You can't do both. You can't do both, and this is where you go, man, I wish I took the pacifism if I want to try to play the Katara. Because
he's looking at this Meteor Sword, but I don't know why.
No, Water Tribe Captain.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I think he was just tricking us a little bit there. But Water Tribe Captain's very good in his deck as well. Remember, he is playing a go-wide strategy where he wants these ways to pump up his team. He already has 2 copies of Invasion Tactics, and there's another somehow.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to ever play a 3rd copy, so maybe you just take the Raucous Audience just if you feel like you want to curve out.
You mean the Human Citizen?
It's not, it is not an ally, but it's still a solid card,
it is
right?
A good
you
card.
can play that turn 2, play an Earth King turn 3. That's a really, really strong start.
But again, it goes into that category against the green. You want it on 2.
At this point, maybe Javier's shifting gears and go, hey, look, that was a wasted pick, right? I could have had a pacifism. That's fine. But you know what? Maybe I can just play a green-white strategy and see if I can splash the Katara.
Fair enough. Again, we did say you can't have both, but you can have one or the other.
Right. And there is a Rumble Arena that does allow you to splash the Katara. So, and there's nothing really strong in this pack, so it looks like Javier opting to take the Rumble Arena. Really nice interaction with Earthbending, by the way. Not a ton in Javier's deck. I know he has a Haru, but if you Earthbend onto the Rumble Arena, trade with something, comes back, you get to scry again.
You do. It also has Vigilance.
Right, Vigilance.
You get the little bump there, too. What is that? Oh, okay, yeah.
Sun Warriors, probably just another Water Tribe. Oh, there is an Aang's Journey.
See, this is like a little insight into his mind, right?
Yeah,
like he's gonna take. So now I'm thinking he wants to play the Katara.
Yeah, if you take the Aang's Journey there, because the Water Tribe Captain is just a perfectly serviceable 3-mana card that you're just almost always going to play. You're almost never cutting that card. So looks like Javier's has his eyes set on playing Katara here.
I get it. Like if you've ever had Katara on the battlefield in your allies deck, it is dumb.
No, it usually sits in my hand and I don't have the islands. That's what happens to me.
We might be seeing
but
that
all
same
my
thing.
opponents played on turn 3 with natural mana.
Totally.
I mean, isn't that just what happens?
That's how it's supposed to go.
No respect
Paul.
for the game.
None. Yeah. It is, the triggers get out of hand with that card.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see how Javier constructs this deck because he really does have a choice. Like, you could try to go heavy white and Gather the Grand Lotus, or you can submit a bit more to being you know, just straight up green-white and then splash the Katara, and then probably have to, at that point, give up the Gather. But
yeah, not a green or white card in that pack. It does look like there's a lot of people drafting white, just maybe not the people directly to his right, because you're not seeing anything table. It's all black cards, by the way.
Sparring dummy, one of my biggest disappointments in the format.
I thought that card was going to be awesome.
I thought it was going to be one of the better
and it's
commons in
just
green.
Somehow just not doing very well.
Stinks. Come on, sparring dummy. I had faith in you.
Little Tundra tank here.
Yeah, just cutting black because he passed good black cards to both directions.
Azula and a sweeper.
Yeah, so these packs are actually going to Marcio, right? But he did not pass him the sweeper.
Right.
That was in pack 2.
Avatar Destiny, not...
That card has proven to be a borderline liability.
It's got a lot of words, but it doesn't actually do
There's
anything.
That Invasion Tactics number 3 did come back. He will not be running 3 of them, I don't assume. But he may well run 1 or even 2 of them, depending on how his build ends up.
This pack 3 was terrible for Javier. I mean, just look, like, outside of course, the Earth King, I mean, just look at, he got 1 white card in this entire pack. Right?
Holy smokes.
So he, I mean,
it was that Water Tribe captain.
And this is sometimes a trap that you can fall into in this format. White is widely considered to be the best color, but because it's also the deepest, right? So if you see a 4th pick Zhang's Deserters or a 5th pick Razor Wings, that doesn't necessarily mean white's open. It just means there was a bunch of white cards in the packs and everybody was just taking it. And all of a sudden in pack 3, when there's only 1 good white card that gets opened in a pack, somebody takes it and then you just don't end up with anything.
That's right. What do you think overall?
Well, I think the fact that he was able to get the Earth King and also the Hakoda with the, you know, couple of good effects. I think he has a solid deck here. Curious to see how he actually ends up, though.
Okay, so there is Gather the White Lotus. There is no Katara. He is running the Rumble Arena.
Okay.
Wow, that takes up a valuable slot in a deck with Gather the White Lotus in it. I'm surprised.
I feel that Rumble Arena should almost 100% be a forest. He's got 2 green 2-drops that he wants to play on turn 2.
Right.
And there's nothing that you're splashing. But, you know, look.
Okay.
He's got the Hakoda and the Earth King. He's got a solid curve. Not an amazing curve, right? There's only 4 2-mana plays here. But, you know, you can curve out. You have a bunch of allies. You have some a lot of power in the Earth Kingdom Jailers, the Earth King, and the Hakoda. There is something here, but definitely missing a little bit just because it looks like white was somewhat contested towards the end of
That's right. He just kind of had to make some concessions by getting, I mean, he is playing the True Ancestry, the Raucous Audience, the Haru, all made it in as well. Also a Saber-Tooth Moose Lion. So maybe that's
top end.
That's his forest that he's considering for that spot. Anyway, solid deck though. You know, again, grading on a curve for the World Championship, this is a thumbs up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Look, Javier can easily just curve out, get a little bit of value, has good interaction, has actually a lot of interaction, especially when you consider the 2 copies of that Earth Kingdom Jailer as well. So he can get a really nice natural curve with a couple of bombs there as well. So, you know, if he draws the right combination of things, I think Javier can make a decent run with this.
Yeah, this ended up being a little closer to the mid-range than it looked like maybe after the first pack. But he has the big finisher with Invasion Tactics. I mean, you do not need that much of a board to have that come down and do some serious work for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I like the deck. Not too bad. All right, well, we're going to take a short break here from Bellevue. We're, oh my, look at that, Paul. Javier Dominguez versus Marcio Carvalho.
Rematch.
We have the rematch from the end of the finals last World Championship. We'll be back with more right after this.